Alright. Current road conditions for Big Bear Lake. February 6th, 4:08 a.m. I just passed AM PM, so I am here on Big Bear Boulevard and going into Big Bear City currently. Gotta go to Lake Williams to make a pickup. So if anybody doubted that I'm not operating, I'm operating. And if you need to get off the mountain and you have to get there, I'm your guide. I'm always operating, but under the radar. I actually prefer traveling at this time. No other goofballs on the road. And as you can see, in conditions like this, it's just so much better to be me in the road. Free and I cruising down the street.
Stimulating talk. And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you. Clint Werner was with me 6.5 years ago. Now he's back. He has degrees in journalism and library science. He's worked in the field of preventative health care for more than 25 years. Studied macrobiotic cooking and practiced in Boston back in 1985. Then he relocated way over to the West Coast in the San Francisco Bay Area, where he co-authored the San Francisco Police Department's health and fitness plan back in '87 and worked teaching AIDS, cancer, and heart disease patients how to improve their health with diet and lifestyle change. He was named an Activist of the Month by NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, and here he is back on Coast to Coast. It's been a while, Clint. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for asking me back, and I'm glad to be here, and it's hard to believe it's been 6.5 years.
It really is. And in those 6.5 years, have things changed for getting marijuana used medicinally? I would think yes. How about you?
It has. It has changed pretty rapidly and radically, I would say, because there's so much evidence growing from research, but also anecdotal, and as one person finds relief and tells another person, and it just spreads by word of mouth because it works, then this movement just advances. And with the move that's gone from medical to legal, the legal has made it much more accessible to more people who might have been hesitant to have to go to and pay a doctor for an approval. Of course, there's some other problems with that we'll talk about, but it is opening up, and it certainly is becoming more available for far broader range of people.
Clint, I got an email from one of our listeners who said, "Why are you supporting the use of drugs? What are you doing?" And then I've gotten about 15 other emails from people saying that this works for medical purposes beyond anything we've ever tried. But how do you address that first email? What do we say to them?
Well, we use a lot of drugs for healing and treating different maladies that we have. Cannabis can be considered a drug. It's not a hard drug, and that's the interesting thing about it. It sort of has a foot in both camps. It has a foot in the more herbal folk medicine remedy world, but also in the, because it's so effective and these compounds are so promising, that it's becoming embraced by the pharmaceutical world. And of course, there's also the other aspect, which is the recreational use that people enjoy, draw pleasure from the experience of smoking or ingesting marijuana. And some people resent that. They are fearful of that because it's been driven home to them that this is a sort of degenerate activity, and it has a whole lot of terrible effects on the body and mind. And so I would say that there are definite amazing healing properties with this plant. And the interesting thing is, for those people who enjoy it recreationally, socially, it also has some protective effects that come from those same actions in the body. So don't be so quick to be negatively judgmental about it. There's some real positives, and of course everything that has a front has a back. So there's another aspect to it that we
The light will stop flashing.
Does embody so many healing potentials for such a broad range of ailments. And the immense well.
I like to ride without my seatbelt when it snows like this, so I can tuck and roll out the door if I have to. My roommate says that's stupid, but sometimes your car's going that way, you want to go the other way, it's not advantageous to have your seatbelt on. That's my personal opinion, but I'm traveling right now at 4:30 a.m. with nobody on the road, so yes, I don't have my seatbelt on, but I don't recommend it. Thank you for listening.
And after the repression that came in the early part of the 20th century, where it was blocked off from use socially, recreationally, but also medicinally, it kind of was dormant until the 60s. And what people found when they started looking at claims, the anecdotal claims that people had of benefits, is that this plant produces these sticky resinous compounds that are exuded from the flowering tops primarily. And these compounds are loaded with what are called cannabinoids. And the fascinating thing about cannabinoids is, in their structure and function, they match up almost identically with compounds in our bodies that are called endocannabinoids. So they amplify the effects of endocannabinoids, and the effect of the endocannabinoids in our body are to regulate our systems. We have all these varied systems: digestion, neurological, blood, your circulatory, your liver, all of these different metabolic and functional organ, functional systems that are these compounds help to regulate and keep all those in harmony, and also adjust our natural internal environment away from disease, the states that give rise to disease. And it's really remarkable that this plant has these incredible complementary compounds that are so similar to our own and match up and work as protective agents as well as treating medicines.
Well, I don't want to use the word cure because we really can't for things like this, but a lot of people are saying that cannabis has remarkable properties to help fight off ailments. And you would agree with that?
Oh, it really does. There's no denying that now. The fascinating thing is that so much research, a lot of research that was intended to find harm, has found benefit. They didn't expect to find benefits when they started doing this research. They were, pursuing harm because that's what's allowed by law. And they just, the researchers in the field kept doing these, there's a lot of money for doing harm assessment research, and they kept getting these anomalous beneficial results. And also they matched up with the anecdotal reports from the social users who were getting good reports for some of their ailments. And then when researchers really started to look at it, they found these compounds. And it's just amazing that so many positive effects can be had from one plant. And you just really have to stop and say, what an amazing thing nature is to produce a plant that can complement our health in so many ways.
It is truly remarkable. And how did you get involved in this, Clint?
Well, it's interesting because I was kind of
just a little update here. We're just getting to Irwin Lake. Here's Baldwin Lane over to Sugarloaf. I'm going to go ahead and continue out Onyx Summit because that just seems to be probably the most advantageous route to take this morning. On a beautiful morning at 4:18 in the morning. God, I love traveling at this time. I don't care the weather. It's just so awesome. Got to make a quick stop in Lake Williams, like I said. And then we'll be on our way. I'm going to leave the camera recording so I can edit anything I want out if I choose to. Yeah, usually I just leave the whole video. So enjoy. Or don't. This is for educational purposes, really. and letting people in Big Bear know they can get off the mountain. And if they ever need a ride off the mountain, I'm your guy. BigBearRideService.com. Thank you.
And it kept smoking marijuana kept him alive. He could eat food when he could not previously, just a couple of little puffs, and I would make him a macrobiotic whole foods meal, one pot meal, really rich in nutrients. And so I just saw how this worked. And at the same time, the science was coming through because people were wanting to know why this happened. Why are these results that are beneficial and positive for health coming through?
Ooh.
And so there was just an inquiry in more research-free places in the world, especially Israel. And
I would say tired, but I'm not tired. I went to
real
bed early for this run.
Where are we, Clint, right now in terms of legalization across the country? And it's a state-by-state thing, isn't it?
It is. There are several states that have legalized fully.
Oh, looks like we're coming up on the chain check.
Colorado being one of them.
Colorado, Washington.
Chain check out of Big Bear at Lower Onyx Summit. So don't even think, I wouldn't even think about driving around without chains. I don't even know what I'm saying. Put them on. Don't leave your house without them. You're going to have multiple stops like this. I had 3 or 4 yesterday going to Lake Arrowhead and back. It is what it is. Just be patient. We're all having fun and enjoying the snow. So make sure we all get to enjoy it. Drive safe. Thanks.
And others are really, really, really restricted. Almost so restricted.
It's growing by leaps and bounds. What is the federal government doing about it?
Well, that is pretty amazing in some ways because they seem to be at this point hands-off. The Trump administration has not gone after the state programs. There was some concern when Jeff Sessions was the Attorney General because he was very much against any softening of laws against marijuana. He is really a hard line. And kind of surprising that he apparently was held in Vegas by
Nothing's going on. We're good.
depending on the social experiment that's going on.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
So that's an interesting aspect of this. That reigns of freedom are in a sense being loosened up a little bit. So
What's going to happen?
This is current road conditions for Highway 38 out of Big Bear.
George, it's kind of
Onyx Summit currently starting to climb.
Non-ideal accident component of the canopy way.
Other than the snow, I'd say it's a nice road. When you have chains on, you're not going fast, so this is actually wonderful. I love it. We get into Lake Williams, it's going to be pretty gnar if they haven't plowed. I don't know how close I'm going to be able to get to the customer's house, but we'll see. I'll go ahead and let it go so that you all can see that as well.
I think this is sort of our puritanical mindset.
I'm sure the plows have gotten to it, but
glaucoma, cancer, chemotherapy.
They didn't even know it would work for them.
And in some instances, it doesn't work the way THC does. It's receptor driven. THC, we have these receptors in our bodies, and they're expressed throughout our bodies, not only in the central nervous system, as CB1 receptors, but there's CB2 receptors. And THC activates these receptors. Interestingly, CBD steers activity away from your CB1 and CB2 receptors and has influences on other receptors. So if you actually need CB1 receptor activation, then you do not want CBD. But I had a friend tell me you can get CBD in Walmart now, and that's insane in some ways because there's so much restriction.
CBD at Walmart. What?
Mass marketed as a sort of cure-all. This panacea of everything.
Only in California.
CBD. And you really need to understand what it's doing. A study just came out last week. It showed in glaucoma patients, that's high pressure buildup that causes blindness. It's THC that works, and CBD aggravates the condition. You want pure THC in your cannabis for that condition because CBD stops the THC's beneficial activity.
No, you couldn't see the sign there, but it says Lake Williams left.
Dramatic the way it works.
It is, and
So we will be going into this little community up here. They've gotten to Lake Williams. They've already got the plows out here. Kudos to Big Bear.
we aren't sure exactly how they interact.
Getting it done.
They sure have a lot of fun.
Look at that snow burn. That sounds sick, but this is what I love to do. It's my favorite weather conditions. Only because it pisses other people off, I think. That's why I love it so much. Put your chains on and go clack-a-lackin'. It's always fun to clack-a-lack around. I use my turn signals at 4:30 in the morning. There's nobody out here. Except for my dumbass. I'm not dumbass, I'm working. Taking a nice young man down the hill. He's actually a good client, so. Only good clients and big payers get this ride. Because it seriously is not the greatest idea, but it is what it is.
Method of action for suppressing pain response, and they are very effective. Cannabis has a different sort of approach to that. It can reduce inflammation, which reduces the agitation of nerves, so you get some of that. In some ways, it kind of is a diversion from the pain. It doesn't mute it as so much as have people be less aware of its presence in their life. And I hope that we can see some of this, be applied and used as more of a first go-to agent in healing and reducing pain and suffering. Because obviously, so terrible.
What about?
Man, I owe you so much, man.
Man, how you doing this morning?
As good as I can be. Stressed.
Don't say anything to me. Do you want a coffee?
Oh, no. Oh, actually, no, what? Yeah, thank you.
I'm just doing a little video on the way out of town for YouTube. So. Might as well educate some people on the road out of Big Bear this morning. I started my own YouTube channel a couple days ago.
Oh, really?
So I'm making a lot of these videos. I'm going to do a video every day. There's a local guy that does them. And it's called Big Bear Weather and More. And he has 2,000 subscribers. So my roommate convinced me to do it.
Yeah.
The way my anxiety is, though, I have to get that under control. And then I can, because I won't post a video every day.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I actually prefer traveling at this time because there's nobody else on the road.
Yeah.
Getting out of my house was actually the gnarliest part. I pulled out at 3:27 from my house because I wanted to make sure I could get out,
Yeah. Is it snowing more in town or out this way?
At my house, there's like a foot in Boulder Bay, but it was only because I dug the car out and had it all positioned to pull out this morning.
Yeah.
So it was. What am I doing? So I was ready because I pre-dug it like at midnight, so that if we got a little too much snow and the plow came by and left a big berm behind me, I could still back out to the street without having to dig, because it sucks to dig right now.
Yeah, it does.
But this is pretty much what it is. Like, I was actually stoked that they got out here and plowed.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, my street was like 8 inches deep.
Really?
Nobody had driven down it. And it was like this. Over here.
Yeah, it's only supposed to keep snowing too, right? For the next few days?
Well, this is going to end, and then it's going to give us a day, 2 or 3 days reprieve.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be a nice little winter then.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good winter.
I think this is an actual, unless we get another rainstorm.
Yeah.
This is awesome, but the reason why it sucks is that there's all that ice underneath it from a week of raining. Yeah. Out here, though, it looks like the plow might have come by a couple hours ago, and it's just been lightly snowing.
Yeah.
Because I noticed I don't even need my wipers on anymore because it's not sticking to the windshield. So it's it's 27, so it's icy.
Yeah.
Super icy. But yeah, the last few days I've been watching, because YouTube pays you for videos.
Yeah.
And for every 1,000 views that I get on a video, I get $7. But
Really?
yeah. And so if you post videos regularly every day, and your everyday video gets 1,000 views, well, you get every 1,000 is $7. So, and it's not the money. I just would rather do it just to keep me busy.
Yeah.
And video, just to
show people the road conditions and everything going up and down. Yeah.
Because I travel so much, I might as well put the 75 car pileup. I have all that on video.
Oh, no shit.
Because I drove up during it, and I saw that all the people parked everywhere. There were 25 cars against the guardrail that I saw.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to wait around. I just kept going all the way to Big Bear and said, peace out. And then all of a sudden it turned into a 75 car pileup.
Yeah.
Because it was getting dark.
Well, luckily you didn't stick around for that then.
Exactly. Because it was getting dark. And the minute it got dark, I guess that panic set in. And people got back in their cars and started to move.
Yeah.
The minute they started to move, they started to just pile onto each other.
Yeah.
Because at the time I came up, there was not one vehicular accident. There wasn't a single car hitting another car.
Yeah.
They were just sitting against the guardrail. Because it got down to 19 degrees and the cars just slid sideways.
Yeah.
And when the car in front of you slides at the guardrail and you look in your rear view and see the rear, you just stop right here.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. All the way up the mountain, I don't want to say millennials, but they were out of their cars.
Yeah.
And their car's parked right here on this uphill. And they're just walking around, scratching their head because they have no change.
Yeah, that's so
And admittedly, it snowed for 45 minutes, and everybody tried to rush off the mountain. And that's what caused the whole thing, because all those people rushing off the mountain didn't want to buy change.
Yeah.
And by the time they got over to Lucerne or tried to drop down into Lucerne, it was 22 degrees.
Yeah.
Or it was 29, and it just started getting colder. And when I got to Big Bear, it was 21 degrees.
It just kept getting worse.
It kept getting worse. And when I crested the top of the hill, I saw 2 CHPs and 5 tow trucks headed.
Yeah.
Well, and they were going to close the road, and that's what they did. They closed the road until they towed everybody out, one car at a time. I had a whole schedule of pickups that day.
Yeah.
So and I think one of them was you. So I got back up here, and somehow, with my luck, my 12 o'clock postponed till 1,
Yeah.
and I crested the hill at 12:10.
Yeah, so that worked out.
I think I call it karma. Like giving you the ride the other day. I was free. I could. You're in a tight spot. It's cool.
Yeah, man, I have every intention. Man, I owe you so much for this, man. Saving my ass.
I think it's actually gonna work out so much better. Than
I hope it does. I hope it's just like halftime. I get out, just move on my life, man. Like,
Are you coming back to Big Bear?
yeah, of course, yeah. I already talked to my roommate's dad. Even if she moves out, she's talking to moving out. He's like, dude, you're like a son to me. He's all, you've always been there. I'll always, you'll always have a place to live in my house and everything. Like, when you get out, I'll help you get started with school and everything. We'll get you started with the job. I'm like, dope, yeah.
Cool.
When I get out, man, this is gonna be step 1 is get the job. I want to enroll in school. I want to get that started. Like,
Yeah.
I've just put it off for so
You
long.
gonna do online?
Yeah, I'm gonna do online schooling. I want to do environmental science.
Nice. That's a good choice.
Yeah, I like working outside, man.
Never too late to educate yourself.
It's never too late, man. He's
No.
50 years old. He's going back and becoming he's getting his PhD. So
Really?
Yeah, he's becoming a professor.
That's
Or his,
awesome.
His master's. That's
His
what it is.
master's.
Yeah, his master's. So he's becoming a professor teaching like nursing and stuff. He wants to change the way nursing's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and right now they're really doing a lot of these nurse practitioners, what they call it,
Yeah.
and they're actually they're like the PAs, they're
Yeah.
the doctor's assistants.
LPNs,
And
licensed practitioners.
and they can write prescriptions.
Yeah.
They're I guess they call them nurse
RNs,
practitioners.
yeah, and
NP, or is that what
Yeah,
it is?
there's LPNs, RNs,
Ah.
registered nurse, a licensed practicing nurse is the
Licensed,
LPN.
okay.
Because my little brother's a nurse too right now, and then coincidentally enough, my other brother's a corpsman in the Navy.
Ah,
So it's
cool.
Yeah, man. I thought this was all behind me in life. Just
Man, dude, shit happens. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
when I was young, I used to get in trouble. I've been to jail before. Like, I'm not the type of person that likes jail. I'm not that person.
Yeah. No,
I just made mistakes.
Who does?
Yeah, I just made mistakes partying in life, man. I've never gone to jail for like fucking anybody over, robbing anybody. It's always DUI, driving unsuspended, drunk in public. It's just stupid shit.
stuff.
And now
It's a lot of stuff you do when you're younger, but then when you get older, you still slip up once every decade.
yeah, and this I'm
Things
done.
happen.
I should have learned my lesson. I should have never been drinking and driving. I had like
Now that's the
yeah.
you definitely, and this is why they're doing this,
Yeah.
because they feel that you hadn't learned your lesson, which
Exactly.
you have.
And honestly, I'd want somebody, if somebody like hit my mom in an accident, was drunk, I'd want them to
There you
pay
go.
for it too, bro. So
See, and
I can't sit here and feel bad for
I had
myself.
I had a person that I took yesterday say something very, very wise. If I pull out in front of somebody or I scream past a car, tell myself, would that guy, if I was that guy, would I have liked that?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
So I have to look at it like, dude,
Look at it from the other side.
I deserve this,
Yeah.
It is
Well,
what it is.
you don't deserve to go to jail. But,
Yeah, but
nobody deserves to go to jail. But for something that's a vehicular, something, well, not just vehicular, but you were
Yeah.
drunk, make mistakes. You don't have any of those on your record, do you?
What's that?
Like any DUI issue?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but my other one's 12 years old. So this is
Oh.
technically like a first one, but because
Yeah.
of the fact that it was an accident and the DA was just really like adamant about he's
Making
got
an
one
example.
before. Even though it's 12 years ago, this is his second one. He's going to do somehow. And so this is,
That sucks.
it does.
And you had a real attorney.
Yeah,
not just a public defender.
Yeah, an attorney. Yeah, she said I still got to pay $12,500 in restitution. That was to keep me out of prison.
Oh.
She wanted to she was so adamant about just like 8 months in prison, 8 months in prison.
Prison?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
No one got hurt in the accident or anything, but still, I get it. It's an accident, DUI.
But wait, so nobody got hurt? Then you shouldn't go to prison.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what she was fighting for. And then so my dad came through and was like, I'll pay the money so you don't have to go to prison. But she's like, well, he's going to still have to do some type of jail time, so that's why I'm doing this.
And you just pleaded to this.
Yeah.
Because they were dangling prison.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'll check into county for
3 months. Yeah, that's what.
And you're going to be there for a few weeks, I think.
Hopefully,
I'm crossing my fingers for you, man.
Yeah.
I'll have my mom pray for you.
Yeah.
I would say I'll pray, but I'd be lying.
Yeah, I'm not a religious person either.
I was raised Catholic, and my mom is Catholic, but I carry the Catholic guilt in everything I do.
I'm Catholic.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not Catholic. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? I'm
I was
agnostic.
raised in the church and all that, but I did the little white suit down the aisle, and so I can start drinking the bread and the wine, sacrament or whatever. But as soon as I could not go to church, I was out of there. And I just don't I disbelieve that anybody. I'm not educated enough on religion to know. Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Who's to say I'm right?
Yeah.
You know, everybody has their own opinion about religion. Politics and religion. The two subjects you just try to stay away.
Yeah.
You know, in normal. But me and you, no big deal. But in most of my car rides, you just don't bring up either.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I never know which way someone's going to go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I hate Trump. And it's like, well, or I did like Trump, but now I don't.
Yeah.
Well, why? Because all the news bashing. That's just a whole nother case. It's actually beautiful.
I know, it's nice. Just to get to enjoy a nice view before.
True that.
I should tell myself, man, that moment when I get out is going to be just glorious.
Yeah. Well, you know what you're gonna love? The moment the knock on the door comes, because you're not gonna know when you get released.
Oh, I know how it goes.
It's just gonna be like,
yeah, it'll just be random. Like if I'm in a dorm, it's just gonna be like, Alan, bunk number, roll your shit up. Yeah, and then you just roll your shit up and like, yes, I'm getting out.
After 2 or 3 weeks, I would be waiting for that day, because I don't think you're gonna spend more than 5 weeks in there.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Because I have a friend who works at the one in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I called him and asked him what their current kick time is, and he said pretty much you're going to serve about 40% of your sentence there.
No shit. Yeah, because I've been out of Atlanta before too.
Yeah. It's the Atlanta one on Air Base Road.
Yeah, there's a prison out of Altoona County. I've been in the county.
Okay. Yeah,
I've never been to prison, thank God.
He works at not the prison, the one similar to what you're going.
Yeah, I haven't been to trouble in 6 years, man.
And depending, I mean, dude, it's so crazy that depending on how crowded they are, they might kick you tomorrow morning because they're overcrowding. If they actually have a bunch of violent felons, they'll kick you in a few days if they need the space.
I've never been kicked out that early though. No. I like usually in like San Bernardino County was like 2/3 of time. I heard Riverside was 50% of time.
Pretty much across the board, it's 50%.
Yeah.
It's from what I've been hearing, but I'm sure you've done your research as well.
Yeah, I know it changes though too. Honestly, I've been looking into it. I just put my head 3 months.
Down. So. Is there any type of training that you can take while you're there to keep your head up?
I don't know. They offer classes or something.
Because I'll tell you, my buddy, you know, I won't say his name now because it's really important, but he came back out and he just crushing it in life right now.
Yeah.
Like $80 an hour job, all because he kept his head down and just did. He went to work.
Yeah.
For 3 years.
Yeah. So he probably did a lot of classes and stuff.
Yeah, he does. He works in the docks and he's a welder. There's all kinds of awesome stuff. But you know, it's just a good example. You can make it, and you can make it all. He lives in OC. Yeah. Has a really beautiful wife and a great family. You know, he makes a grip of cash, which I'm impressed. You know, we rolled a lot when I was younger, and he was my homie, a good friend. Saved my life a few times. That's what I call good people.
Yeah.
And you know, I hadn't even known him that long when we started, you know, rolling around together. But we did some shenanigans in Orange County. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Good time. Newport Beach sucks now.
Yeah, it's overcrowded. It's just the spot to go.
I loved it
And-
because we would just stay home and let everybody come down to our house. But then the cops just took it over.
Yeah.
They regulate, they shut down roads, and that's great. But at the same time, they shut the party down at midnight.
Yeah.
As soon as, 10 o'clock, the cops start going up and down the numbered streets and start clearing out the parties.
Yeah.
When I first moved down there, and I think it was like 98, 99, you could party until the sun came up.
Yeah.
And I'd be lighting a firework on the street, seashore, when the sun is about to crack. You'd be lighting another black cat
Yeah.
and throwing it on the ground. That ended the first year I lived there. By the second year, they were regulating hard. Fireworks are illegal, but
Yeah.
you can't they don't catch you with it. It is what it is.
Yeah. Not too many people on the road at this time.
I gotta go check on my mom anyway, so I'm gonna head back around to Savaria.
Just make sure she's doing all right.
Yeah, she's been sick all week, so just want to make sure she's good. She needed to go to the urgent care a couple days ago, but then she waved me off. Like, don't come down because of the weather.
Yeah.
But she's my mama. I gotta go see how she's doing. She took care of me, right?
Yeah.
She's sick. I should have jumped. It was on Saturday. I should have just ran down there.
Yeah.
Because, when your elderly mom calls you and I should have just ran down there. Been a good son. But it was Saturday night, and this is what I do.
Yeah. I was thinking it started snowing Saturday night, right? That's
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It was still rain, snow, sleet.
Yeah.
So I could have ran off and been there about an hour. But all urgent cares were closed, so we would have had to go to the emergency room. And I guess she has a $100 copay, so I don't want to go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have to pay $100.
She has Loma Linda. She picked Loma Linda because the doctors were there, superior, blah, 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 blah. Actually, it will be not too bad, like actual road time getting down, considering that I'm going 26,
Yeah.
24. When there's snow on the road, I can go about 30.
Yeah.
But this is ice,
Yeah.
and it's 23 degrees. So there's no need to rush.
Yeah.
If there's anything I've learned in the last 4 years or so running this business is be patient,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah,
And
you
that's
wanna
why
be impatient in
when I
this
told
weather.
you 5 a.m., I immediately, let's do 4:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Because I can go in, for my counseling, and I have counseling today too. So it all worked out.
Yeah. So you had to go down the hill regardless?
But to a spare.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't mind doing this swoop, to help you out, and then I'll just go up Cone Pass.